people always credit, oh, Nelson Mandela freed us. No, Miriam Makeba freed us. If it wasn't for Miriam Makeba going to the United States, meeting up with Abu Harry Belafonte, she would have not gone to the United Nations that black South Africans are living under.
This is the Hustler's Corner.
You know, people are going to have to also learn how to like incorporate music into like audio podcasts, like not like songs, but like calming music.
Do you know what? That's what has got the most views on YouTube. Calming music.
Yeah, I know. I watch this stuff. Exactly.
Me too. I sleep with
it. Exactly. So I'm like,
that's why it's got a lot of views. I know you guys are getting into our off-the-record conversations. Basically, what Nota was saying, people need to start incorporating some music into their podcast, like calming music, sleeping music. I'm sure there are some of you guys who watch those videos. And I was saying to Nota, that's actually music with the most views on YouTube. Because some people sleep with it. Ladies and gents, without me having to give a long introduction, a profile, his resume is long, music mogul. I've seen some different articles here. I was trying to get into research a little bit about Nota. Geez, Nota is all over the internet, guys. Once you Google Nhlamulo Baloyi, you also find out there's actually a whole lot of other Nhlamulo Baloyis out there. Shout out to all of the Baloyi clan. And I'm excited to have you here, bro. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I've been a fan of the show. You know, I've been watching it grow. And at least
I've been a fan of your. I think you're one of the earliest smart local entrepreneurs to recognize the power of the internet early. I think a lot of people are jumping into it now. But you are one of the people that recognized it early. And I've seen how you've been moving around these spaces and how you've been. I think because you've worked with stars and working on making this person a star because he looks after the team. Now it's, and I want to have those conversations later. Now it's you on the spotlight, and I can imagine how interesting that is.
Well, I've always been on the spotlight. It's just that I wanted to build my pedigree and my profile differently. You know what I mean? I wanted to do it the other way around. So I wanted that by the time I then step into the role of talent, right, I have developed the skills. Because, you know, we put too much emphasis on youth. Imagine like your biggest superstars, the guys that the kids look up to, is a guy who's 18, 19, 21. He hasn't even experienced life. He hasn't even seen and now he has to be the one that gives advice to all the younger kids, the teenagers, the 14, 15-year-olds. So what I wanted to do was experience life, have a lot to draw from, and then do it late. And I think that what encouraged that was the fact that growing up, I saw a whole lot of young stars coming up. Abo Mzambia, Abo Msawawa, Shoza, you know, under the Bulldog umbrella at that point in time. And obviously it's like there were a bunch of kids, and Bonsai was probably the best producer in South Africa or even on the African continent at that point in time. So those kids were lucky that they got to work with a guy like Bonsai and all the other producers that he worked with at the time. So the music was just out there and everywhere. And that seemed to be like the formula that we were following until Get Rich or Die Trying, 50 Cent and Kanye West. So 50 Cent, what shot him to fame was that he got shot 9 times. But if you look at his story, he was already 27, 28. It was already late in his career. If you look at a guy like Jay-Z as well, he popped off when he was 26. It was already late in his career. And all the other guys popped off when they were young. I was Snoop Dogg, all the other big legends, they were very young. B.I.G., Mace, Tupac, all of them. I mean, Tupac didn't even make it to 25 years old. You know,
he died at 26.
No,
and that was still young. But at that age, what is?
Did he die at 26?
The amount of
not
work.
24. I don't think he made it to 25 because even B.I.G. didn't make it. It was 24 when he died.
I think it's Biggie was 24.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either or.
These guys were young, eh?
You understand what I'm saying? But that's the thing is that.
Just.
So if you look at,
I think when I look at it then. But now I look at it now, like I'm 43, you were young, bro.
And you just discovered that when you were 25, you didn't know anything.
Hey, bro. But then I thought I knew everything. But I look at it now like being Indwana.
So who are you to be telling Indwana how to become grown men at the age of 25 with this little life experience that you had? You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I already recognize that it actually benefits you to be older because you've got a whole lot more perspective. So Kanye, when he came into the game, he was 27. And that's after all the rejection that he faced. And he spoke about the rejection that he faced and how it made him better and everything else. So for me, I was like, okay, fine. I might not be the frontline guy. I remember I was in Melville. I was having a conversation with Younger. And he was like, you know, you're doing this for all these other artists. You know, at which point in time will you now go for the thing yourself? I say, the game is not even at the level yet. You know, and I think there was a point in time where Casper and AKA were like really getting hot, and I was like, you know what's the saddest thing is that Casper and AKA are going to set it up perfectly for me to break every single record that they will never be able to break, because they are doing all the groundwork, right? And I'm just chilling in the background waiting for hip hop to actually get to a point where anyone who wins at that point wins the entire industry. And basically with Questa, we were able to time it perfectly. Like, we never went for the jugular until the jugular was worth something. So by the time, you know, we released Dakar 2 and it becomes the best-selling hip-hop album of all time, we've outsold Casper, we've outsold AKA, the guys who the media has been talking about the whole entire time, the guys who everybody was watching, you know what I mean? And like they say, when brothers fight, a stranger inherits their land.
And Mion, I want to go back before that because I want to know your background. Who is Nota?
So when I was born in Parktown at Florence Nightingale Hospital, but we still lived in deep
around next to Hillbrow, no?
Yeah, Parktown.
Yeah, the old Florence Nightingale Hospital. Yeah.
So I mean, like back in the 90s,
Parktown was a suburb, like crazy.
Yeah, so was Hillbrow.
White people.
So was Hillbrow.
Yeah.
So was Hillbrow.
Back in the day.
You know, and even if you read about Hillbrow in Brahu Masigela still grazing, you know, when he used to take Miriam Makeba to go see her boyfriends, her white boyfriends. It's in the book. You know, so like that, basically it was a private hospital, and it meant I was born in Joburg, another generation born in Joburg. My mother was born in Joburg as well. She's a Soweto child as well. My parents' house, or my grandmother's house, my grandmother who died in 1963, leaving my mother an orphan, was right by Dorenkop. What's this thing? The cemetery.
Okay.
Is it Dorenfontein?
Not Avalon, not the Soweto.
No, the other. It's so Soweto. Is it Dorenkop?
Oh, Dorenkop. Okay.
Yeah, the Dorenkop cemetery, right opposite. Like Maupume 18, like right outside. There's like a greenhouse, number 1101. That's my grandmother's house. Yeah. So she died in '63, leaving my mother an orphan. And my mother then was obviously raised by her aunts, uncles, and everything else. And then she met my dad in the 80s. They got married in 83. And they had my sister in 84. And then 2 years later, it was the state of emergency in South Africa, 1986. You know, a whole lot of things changed. And they didn't have a boy child. But my mother could see that, listen, the day I have a boy child, I don't want him to be raised in this environment, because there's too many opportunities for him to become curious and then find the wrong things in life, you know, which is how she saw it. She wanted a better environment for us to grow up in. So as soon as I was born in 1990, she told my dad, hey, forget this thing of buying a stand in Deep Reef Extension. We're going to the north, wherever it is, you know, whether it be Sentin, Fourways, whatever you need to make happen, make it happen. So I think my dad got approved for like a little bank loan to buy a stand and Globus Ranch for 30,000 rands in 1991. And then he started building the house. My mother got a job at Eskom in 94, and because she worked for the state and worked for Eskom, she got a bond through Eskom. And because of that bond, which she ended up paying off 25 years later, you know, we were in Globus Ranch, we were in the north. Although we weren't like the richest family there, you know, because my mom was the only one who had a stable income, working for the state, working for Eskom. I had a really good upbringing, you know, and a really good environment. My sister, you know, went to good schools. She started at Macaulay House when she was in primary school. And then she went to Sharon Lee Primary. She even did her acting thing. She did music. She acted on the first season of Soul City.
Okay.
With Sister Bettina.
Okay.
Before the song.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, so Mom Lillian Dube. You understand? Yeah. Yeah, around. But so the first season of Soul City, my sister was on TV. So for me, TV wasn't like a foreign object. It wasn't something that was far, or being in the media space. When I was in grade 1 in 1997, my sister was being called at school to go and shoot scenes on the intercom while I was in class. So I understood, okay, fine, my sister works on TV and everything else, you know. We'd go to like TV competitions, like for KTV, they'd have like Reggie's Slime, where they pour slime on you, like, you know, all that type of stuff on KTV, on Mnet, you know. Mnet used to pay it with a check. My mother used to send me, like when I was 5 years old, with a check to go to the Mnet offices, and then you used to open the drawer and then you put the check inside and then you close it like that. Kids don't even know about checks these days.
Remember checkbooks.
You understand what I'm saying? And at least you could send your kid with their school fees in those days. These days it's cash. So, you know, you rather EFT. You can't be sending your kid with 1,000 rands to school, or however much it is for school fees these days. So within that environment, like I'm explaining like the broader environment, not just like where I was, but what I was seeing, what I was exposed to as well, because that also helped
shape you.
Yeah, and also give me either the confidence, the self-esteem, so that when I'm a little kid, I see DJ Sbu from TV, right? But I'm not scared of DJ Sbu. I'm not like, oh, it's Ngtati Sithombe. No, I observe his work, I understand what he does, I know what I do, and I'm able to have a conversation, and I'm able to discuss work. And when you might be thinking, oh no, this little 14-year-old, this little 12-year-old or whatever, you know, he's able to discuss work, and you're thinking he's cute, that's nice. And maybe you're just playing along, right? But the fact that I'm using the fact that I'm cute or I'm a little kid, you know, to actually have the conversation means that I actually get to have the conversation, and now all I need to do is deliver. And when I deliver, it's a completely different thing. Yeah. You understand? It's like, hey, okay, yes, being glad, but you know, okay, oh, so if I get in, okay, no, damn, okay, I've got the deposit, okay, no, oh, so you were serious, okay, well, I guess I have to do this now. And that's how I got myself ahead in life, even though I was very young, because I was exposed.
I saw you from when you were still, I think by the time I started seeing you in the scene, you were young. Maybe you were around teen years, maybe you were 18, 19, 20. 18. You were 18 around then, eh?
18.
That's when I started seeing you in the game and you had dreadlocks.
No. The
dreadlocks you grew later, ne?
Yeah. The first time we met.
I don't remember when we first met.
The first time we met.
But I'd been seeing, I saw you a lot of times.
So the first time we met, ne, I was hosting a party with my friends at Black Orchard, and you came.
There's a party that you booked me at,
yes.
even.
Yeah, at Black Orchard.
That's the party, no?
Yeah, no, but the first time we were hosting, you weren't booked.
Okay.
You came because Woplomeno Touch. And then Touch invited you to the party. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, yo, these little kids are the ones who are hosting the party. And then he came and said, yo, I'm even gonna play a set.
Yeah.
You understand? Touch was forced one end. I said, yo, Touch wants to play a set, some faga. What, yo, get connected with these kids, you know what I mean? And that's where I got your numbers from there.
So you were already hustling then?
Yeah, we were already doing parties, because what happened is that house was big, right? And hip-hop was not big at that point. Well, it was big amongst my generation.
Yeah.
All we needed to do was hire venues. And we'd hire these venues and we'd play hip-hop, right? And then we'd allow our age groups, kids between the ages of 16 and 18, to come to these clubs and party. So basically it was illegal. But it was a market, and we made a lot of money. And if you think about it like this, that generation of kids, like if they were at a party with you guys back then, you wouldn't want those kids there anyway. So they had nowhere to go, you know. But they loved music, and there was no places that were catering for us, you know. And I think we got the idea when we used to go like to Sun City a lot as kids in the north. We used to go to Sun City. There was this other club, which was an underage club, where they sell no alcohol. I
remember that.
Yeah. So we're like, why don't we bring this thing here? Except we'll sell alcohol. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you guys were smart, because you were using your naughtiness to hustle and make money. So you were making money from an early age.
And guess how we invited all those kids? We didn't have flyers or anything. We used social media. We had MySpace, we had Facebook, we were innovating.
You remember, not MySpace, you remember the local one was?
I don't remember.
The North Craig's son.
No, you mean Mix It.
Mix It.
Yes, yeah. Well, Mix It, we didn't, because already by that time, our generation saw the Mix It kids as kids. They were kids. So we were on MySpace because we're like, no, we don't want to be like the kids. Yeah. And then from MySpace, we're like, yeah, we don't want to be like the MySpace guys. We want to be on, I mean, like YouTube started on MySpace. It was a thing that was like YouTube videos. They blew up because it was like you used to post them up on your MySpace page, and that's where you get views. And then when Facebook came and you can invite your friends to parties and everything else, you'd be like, okay, I've got 3,000 friends, I've got 3,000 friends, we'd all get our friends together and then we'd sit on our computers and click, and then we'd invite 20,000 people, and then 2,000 people show up to the party paying 100 Rand each, and that's 200K.
Yes. And that's what I always say, in being a hustler always helps when you hustle either at a young age because you learn to pay the school fees earlier, or if you've got kids, like I'm a parent, I'm already teaching, I've been teaching, but I mean now my own kids, teaching them early how to make money, what is money, how to invest, the difference between investing and saving, and the importance of investing as opposed to saving, like, and good debt, credit, all of those things.
Even when it comes to saving, like, we're told so many lies because nobody saves like black people. White people don't save. I've never heard a white kid growing up amongst white kids saying, no, my mother's gone to the society. Like, there's never been a white woman who's gone to a society to go and save her money. You understand?
Yeah.
All we hear is that, no, my mother credit card got snatched at some store. She exceeded her credit card. She maxed it out. So as far as this whole thing of that, no, black people are poor because they don't save. No, black people are poor because they don't earn enough money.
Black people, we're not taught to invest.
That's the thing. We have nothing that we're not taught that what we have is worth investing in.
Now in 2022, I don't save, I invest.
Exactly.
So I might not have physical cash, I don't have money.
Yeah.
But my money is stuck in my investments. And every time when I get money, I want my money to go into my investment.
That's it.
I don't want to have money.
That's it.
Because I don't want to save it, I always want to invest.
Look, you should have a rainy day fund. That's the one thing that we can encourage people, just so that you don't get desperate and you don't get into credit unnecessarily when things do take a downturn, because that will inevitably happen in any endeavor where there's risk. You know,
you're correct. And let's mention this, guys, we're not financial advisors. We're just merely having a conversation around encouraging people to learn about money.
But especially to our black brothers, you know what I mean? It's like you don't need financial advisors to tell you these things, because a lot of financial advisors are selling you financial products that they're earning a commission on. It's not about them selling you a financial product that is actually going to benefit you. You know, so we need to take that advice with a grain of salt. Me, right now, what I'm giving advice on, I stand in no way to gain from you taking my advice and winning. You understand? And also, I stand no way to lose if you take my advice and you don't succeed. You understand? So there's a risk, so take it with that grain of salt. But what I'm saying is that a rainy day fund is very important to get yourself that security, that peace of mind. But other than that, it's not even about saving, because, like, what are you saving for? What you should be looking forward to is creating more opportunities to earn more money. And you only do that by investing.
Yes, your money should always be at work.
Yeah, exactly.
As Damon Dash would always say, Damon Dash, how does he put it? He says, my money is always in the streets. Once I get money, I put it onto something, it's in the streets.
Yeah,
it's doing the work for me.
It's doing the work for me. And so, you know, and that's like, that's, you know, that's why, like, I mean, I've got a lot of admiration for Dame Dash, you know, as well, because he's also sharing the knowledge, and a lot of people aren't sharing a lot of that knowledge. But a lot of black people have been told the wrong things to make us feel worse and to make us accept the conditions that we're in without our access to resources, or with limited access to resources and our limited access to capital, and not knowing that these are systemic deficiencies in our economies that are created to keep us as perpetual labor. You know, to make sure that black people are only useful as labor. they cannot ever get capital. They can never invest it or redeploy capital within their own communities and then own businesses within their own communities. They always need to be kept down so that we can buy them and we can employ them for a certain price, you know. So like that's why it was very important that for me, when I started sharing the knowledge and started sharing, what I did is that I started it while I was under employment, right? And what I wanted to show people within that employment is that I was using that employment or that position to learn about certain things in the business through a perspective of the corporate background.
What
right?
was your first job?
My first job that I...
Your first employment, yeah.
First employment. First time I was employed is now when I was the director at the Orchard.
Okay. So you've always just been a hustler since those early days.
Yeah, that was the first...
And what I want to know is, what were your parents saying at the time? Because I know my parents were against me getting into the music industry.
So you see, that was the thing, is that my parents did not understand because they were sold this fear. And also my father is what I call a failed entrepreneur. And so his failure in entrepreneurship scarred my mother in terms of her confidence in me being able to succeed as an entrepreneur. And the only thing that kept our family together was the humility of my mother, because she never ever like she tell it to me in her frustrations, right? But because she was employed by the state and she kept everything solid, the bond was paid for and everything else. And also I got myself through school because I was really smart as a kid, right? I went to Radford House, a boutique private school in Northcliffe in Fairlands on Cornelis Street. It's right behind the West Bank offices, right?
I see that the back next to the freeway.
That's the neighborhood with the most tennis courts in the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's just a fact. Fairlands in the world, you know, more than Wimbledon. And private tennis courts within people's yards until people start subdividing and building complexes in their houses, like Bryanston.
Yeah, like Bryanston.
I hope they just keep that record, you know. But that just shows you the level of access, the level of privilege I was exposed to as a young child. And that school, my parents could not afford to take me there. You understand? But it was suggested that I go there by a child psychologist because of how much high potential I had, and because I was given IQ tests at a very young age and I scored off the charts. So, you know, I was like a child prodigy, child genius, or so they said. But every child is a genius in their own right. My genius just came in my retention of information and the fact that I can learn really quickly. So I've got a higher learning potential, whereas other kids are geniuses in terms of like football skills. You know what I mean? Abo Junior Kanye and stuff like that. You know, Abo Senzo Maiwa. They're geniuses in that.
Abo Chabupule.
Yeah, exactly. But those are the generation before us. That's your generation.
Oh yeah.
So that level of higher learning potential and exposure, combined with the environment that I was in, and also combined with the fact that, yes, when I was born, we lived in Soweto and Diepkloof. My family is predominantly from Soweto. So I can see the duality, I can see the parallel life, I can see the parallel world, I can juxtapose my lived experience from being in the township with being in the suburbs. And then I can also study the different communities like an anthropologist, which meant that from a very young age, I've just been studying, absorbing the culture, seeing it from a bird's eye view and seeing, okay, fine, if I do something like this, can I gather people? What do people resonate with? What do they like? How can I unite a community of young people? You know, I mean, it's no small feat to gather 2,000 young kids at a party. That's 2,000 different souls. That's 2,000 different households, families, people that are all gathered in one place. And any concept that you can come up with that can bring people together like that is something that you need to actually appreciate. You know, if you do meditation and you're like present in the moment, right there while you're at that party, and you think to yourself, oh my goodness, all these people, all these different works of life, all these, like each of their fathers had 500 billion sperms that decided that this child is going to be this human being that is right now at this party. How unlikely that is. You know, it took a comet wiping out dinosaurs so that mammals could come and occupy the earth. Otherwise, the dinosaurs would have eaten us up. We would have never even been human. This interview could not even be happening. You know what I mean? Had it not been for that random moment when an asteroid hit the Earth and everything else, you know. So the unlikelihood of that event itself as well is something that, you know, made me think that, okay, fine, as unlikely as all these things are, not many people are observing. And those of us who actually observe and are actually aware of how unlikely these things are able to influence unlikely events to happen in a way in which we can basically organize it. And that's basically how the world is run. It's run by people no smarter than you and I. It's just that people who decide that they're going to observe how the world works and then do certain things that will set off a chain of events that can affect how, you know, the future ends up developing. And so I always knew from a very young age that I would be able to influence the world. So at 8 years old, I had my very first interview in the Sunday World newspaper, and I talk about this all the time. And in that Sunday World interview, this was in 1999, just before I turned 8, so I think it's 14th of March or something around there, just before I turned 9. And I was telling the interviewer that I'm going to be the next Puff Daddy, you know. And right now I'm watching Kanye West's Genius documentary, and he was, as a kid, thinking he's going to be the next Puff Daddy, you know what I mean. And then in 2005 or something, Kanye West released Graduation with a song called Stronger. And then my little brother at that point in time came to my bedroom and said, oh my God, did you hear Kanye West's new sample? A couple years before that, I was working on samples in the house, and I had sampled that same Daft Punk song.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically that didn't tell me that I'm on the same skill level as Kanye, but it told me that I'm on the same wavelength as Kanye. And at that point in time, I think it was around about 2004 when College Dropout dropped. Every single day on my way from Rauco back to Globusrand, you know, I had to catch 3 taxis. Catch a taxi from Brixton to Bree, from Bree to Randburg, from Randburg to Bridgetown, and then walk home. You know, I'd listen to College Dropout on repeat the whole entire time. And basically what that told me is that it taught me everything that I didn't learn from listening to Jay-Z's Blueprint. Because, you know, after B.I.G. died, I was a big fan of Puff Daddy, and I was a big fan of him as a mogul, as a businessman, but he wasn't the rapper that Jay-Z was. So I gravitated towards Jay-Z, but Jay-Z was also from the hood, and he...
But I pantsula too much.
Yeah. So when it was Kanye West, it was me.
Yeah, I get you.
You understand what I'm saying?
I was watching his documentary, and there's some parts where he talks about that.
Yeah.
Because he came with the polo.
And that's what he was rapping about.
Yeah.
That's what he was rapping about. So he was rapping to us.
Yeah, he was like a cool guy.
Yeah, we're not from the hood. We're not gangster. No. We're about a positive message. And that's what rap was about from the beginning when I first fell in love with rap. Before the shiny suits and the gangster lifestyle took over. And that's because the corporations, they could sell that without taking responsibility for the culture that it permeated, which is the drug culture, the gun violence culture, because that culture was not happening in their communities. The CEOs of the record labels are white people, you know what I mean? And that violence does not happen in the Jewish community where they come from. You understand? But for us, it happens in our communities. And already as a child, I could see the danger in that this might be happening in the States, but the black communities as a minority community, they make up 13% of the US population. La ekasi, if this culture comes into our music and it becomes the dominant culture, we are 80% of the population. There's going to be on Salkaksin. You know what I mean? It will be right on our doorsteps. It's a completely different thing. We cannot adopt that culture, you know? So already from a young age, I already had that thing of like, whatever I do in this SA hip-hop, I need to make sure that we don't do it like what the Americans are doing. We do it better than them. And also, I also knew from being conscientized as a young person about what happened to America and how it became what it was, right? That we have a much richer history and a much richer culture. So there's no way we can be taught by them what culture is. You know, they were removed from their homeland through slavery, through violence, you know, and they were stripped of their culture. And therefore, when we hear their culture and hear their struggle, we need to understand that that means that we can persevere. That means that we can go through something as horrific as slavery and still emerge on the other side and still be singing and still be joyous and still have something to, you know, rejoice in. You know what I mean? Our struggles are not futile. And that's the inspiration that they gave us. Because if you look at how South Africa became free, a lot of the subculture of, you know, our anti-apartheid movement came from America. People always credit, oh, Nelson Mandela freed us. No, Miriam Makeba freed us. If it wasn't for Miriam Makeba going to the United States, meeting up with Abu Harry Belafonte, she would have not gone to the United Nations that black South Africans are living under. And as far as the Americans were concerned, back then, before Miriam Makeba spoke about it at the United Nations, everything was normal. Black people and white people were living separately and happily. Because that was the propaganda that the Union of South Africa's apartheid government was spreading to the rest of the world. You know, that was the propaganda. Until Miriam Makeba came and said, listen, the apartheid government is brutalizing my people.
And the Letta and Kefas Semenyas of this world.
They came after that. They came after that.
Abigail's of
they
this
came
world,
after that.
The
She opened it.
of this
So
world,
what she did is that Miriam Makeba opened the door. In terms of our biggest freedom fighters, our freedom is due to not the political leadership. It's due to our musicians. It's due to the artistic leadership of the Miriam Makebas. They're the ones who freed us. But the politicians, the ANC, you know, they're the ones who took credit for freeing us because they're the ones who negotiated the settlement. But the people who actually conscientize people of the injustice that is happening to our people are the artists. And they were able to spread that message overseas, all over the world, and garner support for an anti-apartheid movement. The same anti-apartheid movement which called for the freeing of Nelson Mandela, who was in prison, and his comrades were all banned. So, you know, having been taught all of this and taught this history and understanding, okay, the power of the arts, and understanding, okay, now there's this thing called hip-hop, and that's what's going to now free even the black people in America from that systemic racism that, okay, they've ended segregation, but they're still facing the systemic racism. And they're talking about it. Broken glass everywhere. People pissing on this and they just don't care. You know what I mean? Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. Ha 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 ha. It's like a jungle sometimes. That makes me wonder how I keep from going under. You understand? So that was their struggle, and their struggle was being spoken about through this hip hop and rap music. And then all of a sudden, in the late 90s, this hip hop and rap music was not longer talking about our struggle. It was talking about us now wearing gold chains, wearing designer brands and everything else. And yes, we need to aspire to a certain level of affluence, but the problem was that only 1 out of 10 of us is getting to that level. And now we're celebrating the 1 out of 10 of us, and then forgetting that we actually
it's even like 1 out of 1,000.
Okay, you know, I'm being generous. You're right. 1 out of 1,000,000, actually. 1 out of 1,000,000. Because if you look at it right now, us within the industry, right, who have made it to a certain point, all of us know each other personally.
Which means that we're not a lot. We're probably less than 1,000.
Serious. We can fit in a room.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can fit in a room. And how many black brothers are there out there that are talented?
Hey, bro.
You understand? The talent pool. You understand? So those of us who get to observe the culture, who get to influence the culture, we number in, you know, there's so few of us. And so...
And that's another thing also the colonizer would use, no? To take this one and say, no, y'all can be like this one. Y'all can be like this one.
And that's not true.
But meanwhile, they know very well it's not true.
It's impossible.
And then this other, and then like, but he worked hard. He also is from the same environment as you.
I did not work hard.
But no.
I did not work hard.
You know?
I'll tell you one thing. I mean, I will never work hard, ever. I'll never work hard. Because hard work does not get you anywhere. You know what I mean? The hardest workers I've ever observed are the people that clean. The people that clean the toilets, they work hard. My dad has a contractor, like they do piss jobs, construction jobs. The hardest workers is not my dad. It's the people that do the bricklaying and everything else. So I've always seen that hard work does not get you far in life. You understand? So it's about proximity.
It's got me far. I'm a hard worker.
Look, you're a hard worker, right? You've had to work hard because you had to emerge from the township. I never had to emerge from the township. So I got access already. And that's the privilege that I had.
Privilege.
You understand?
Which is the privilege that some white people are refusing to acknowledge.
They refuse to acknowledge.
Privilege. They're not
because
even aware.
I'm proof. I'm proof that put me, the same guy who would have ended up being, you know, someone who doesn't amount to anything, had you put him in the township, would have been Ihlanya, Lasekas, Lislim, you know, Lazga Cool. Because that's what happens to guys like me in the hood. you know, we're seen as weird, as like, wazin, and like, you know, these concepts that you're talking about, yo, they're foreign. And then they end up, you know, losing their minds. They end up being told that they're crazy and end up believing that they're crazy. And they, you know, they end up being depressed. They end up being on drugs or alcohol and everything else. All the smart guys that I grew up with, Ekas, all of them ended up being crazy. All of them. There's not one that ended up, because the environment, Ekasi, says that you as an outlier, the nail that stands up is the first one that gets hammered down. Because you're different from everybody else. You're not fitting into this factory that we're creating of black slave labor, where we're reproducing it and making sure that you're educated just enough so that you can carry a hammer and nail your brothers down. You know? So being able to observe from this side of things what you guys were denied completely, your generation, because of apartheid, you know, meant that I could then say, I've actually got privilege. What I need to do is use this privilege and not say, hey, work hard, guys, you know, you can do it too. Oh, I'm here to motivate you. No, what I was supposed to do is say, dog, the system is very simple. They fix the system like this. If we do 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll end up being able to influence these institutions, and we'll able to get ourselves out of the situation. You'll be able to get yourself a house in the suburbs and be able to support your family. You know, that's basically was my mission, is to go into the hood. So when people saw me going into the hood, working with guys like Abo Cuesta and everything else, Abo Magwa, TLT and everything else.
And let's start there. How did your introduction into the music industry happen?
Well, my introduction came from doing events. I used to make beats, and then I realized that, damn it.
Oh, you're a beat maker?
Yeah, I started out by making beats like Kanye.
You're a producer?
No, I started out by rapping.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah, because I saw one of the articles here said
I'm a rapper. Yeah, no, I'm a rapper.
Nota rapper.
Yeah. So, I'm a rapper, and then I realized that beats are expensive to buy. So I need to make beats. So then I start making beats so I can rap on them. And then I make beats, I make rap songs, and then I go to everyone. I go to Slicker, say, yo, man, I've got these rap songs. Yo, please put me on, whatever. You know what I mean? He gives me the office number. I'm like, yes, Jayla. He doesn't even know. And I was like, yo, but I've also got some beats that I put on that thing. He's like, yeah, no, you call my office. I go to Sugar Smacks. Yeah, I'm like, yo, man, I'm a rapper, but I also make beats and everything. I was like, oh, you make beats and everything else? Yeah. And I send him like a demo. When I send him this demo, cool,
This is Sugar Smacks or
yeah,
Slicker?
Sugar Smacks.
Okay.
I need their partners.
Yeah.
So the one, Ivele Young Chomela, and then the other one, you see, it's
also, I'm gonna...
yeah, it's like, I treated them like their parents. I went to Timer said, I went to Oledi. So then I managed my sister helped me. You see, like the way Kanye West's mother encouraged him, my sister encouraged me. Like my sister sponsored me with everything. Like my sister's an academic, you know. She's talented. She can sing. She can do any of this stuff, right? She went to NSA and everything else, and then she decided I want to do economics, and she's got a PhD. You know, she's 36 now.
Oh wow.
She's got 2 master's degrees. She's like, wow. I've got the talent, but I'm here for economics. That's what I want, you know, and that's what she wanted, you know. Whereas she empathizes because she's got the talent with me, who's like, I want to channel my work within the arts.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can have the same influence, except I can influence people within the arts, and you can influence them, because I mean, economists are the ones who run the world.
It's powerful to influence people in the arts as well. Because you can influence influential people.
Exactly. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So I can influence the numbers, and then she can influence the influential people because of her academic background. You know, she got a PhD from the University of London, SOAS, School of African and Oriental Sciences. So with her support, I'm able to get to Sugar Smacks, get him his beats, and in that beat tape is like maybe 4 beats. The first 4 tracks are my songs. You know what I mean? Oh, then he's like, no, Mvana, yeah, no, I heard your songs, Mvana. I was susela my vocal wako, Mvana, uskayela my beats. Nah, man, those are my songs. Like, you don't like, no, the songs are dope. I'm like, yeah, those are my songs. Like, yo, one day they're gonna be hits. Yeah. Okay, fine. Hey, I know, okay, Nigelela beat, and then he made his first single, Sugar, and that was Sugar Smacks' first solo single.
Oh, Sugar, that was your beat.
That was my beat. You know what I mean? And I was sampling. You know, I think I sampled La tra la 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 la, wish upon a star.
Yeah.
Maybe your dreams will all come true. Maybe she'll fall in love with you. So I took my mother's music and I used to sample beats, just like a Kanye would. You know what I mean? Because I was really inspired by that whole entire soul sample style as well. And then from there, Josie then came into the picture. They weren't sampling soul samples. They were sampling, you know, traditional African music. They were sampling Batanga. They were sampling Istatamia. Well, they sampled Batanga a lot. And then they mixed it with crunk, which was... Yeah. And then they mixed it with crunk and made Motherland crunk. So then I was like, oh, damn it. Let me link up with these guys. So then I link up. I go to Lance, and then Lance, you know... he's like, okay, fine.
To Lance.
Yeah. No, Lance is like, you know, sharp. Just hang around, you know, learn. And then I think Max, the #1 hustler, was working at Get Her Off at that point in time.
Hey, jeez, I haven't seen Max in a while.
So Max
is in construction now. Shout out to Max.
So Max was like, yeah, I'm gonna now my form.
You know Max.
Yeah. Now my form applier like for my Crown Gospel Awards. There's these new awards that are coming. Crown Gospel Awards. Make a submission there for Ishmael. Yo, do this. Yo, do this. Like I'm an intern.
Oh, they started sending you around and you started learning.
And I'm learning. So at that point in time, I'm like, we host parties with my friends, right? The LES wants to launch his solo album. And his solo album is very much crunk. It's not Motherland crunk. It's crunk. And Lance is like, okay, fine. I got Josie to do what I wanted. I've released the albums. We've done what I wanted. Les and Bongs, this crunk American nonsense project of yours, you can do it now. You've got the permission to do it, okay? And we'll see how far it goes, okay? And it's like, oh. And then Elias is like, yo, I'm going to get my Thundercats, which is me. I was one of his Thundercats at the time, to do my launch parties. That's where we started.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get them to do.
Tippy toes.
Yes, tippy toes. So that was our market.
Okay.
So then Les is like, yeah, no, these kids are gonna do the party.
I remember.
So Ulansi and Ucheluguti, he thinks this little kid's gonna host his launch party. Okay, so Nale American style, yeah. So I go to Tebogo Masike. Who owns Zelly Sweets, right? Yeah. And he does some businesses in the Val. But at that point in time, he was working at Halewood Distribution. And Halewood, there was a guy called Victor there who used to do Red Square marketing. Yeah. So all the Red Square DJ battles and everything else where Abu Shimza and them were discovered and stuff like that. Yes. He used to work with him, and I asked him for sponsorship. And I asked them to sponsor us with Budweiser, because Budweiser is an American beer brand.
International brand.
You understand? So it fitted with the whole entire theme of Fresh to Death, LES, and everything else. And the party was a smash.
With those many colors. And
you understand? And then you were there. And then when you walked in there, one Budweiser, I got to say states. You understand what I'm saying? It's like we transported you. And then LES comes in a huge bus. You know what I mean? Yeah. And a whole lot of people that are coming out, and it's like a movie. You know what I mean? He's got this big banner with his face on it. It's got the red carpet, like it's the Oscars. The whole entire thing, it was Hollywood. The whole entire style was Hollywood. And then we did that. And then from that, I mean, I went to Smacks again, and I said, listen, let me teach you this social media thing. Let me help you. Because he was about to launch his album.
At the time, there was Facebook, no?
Yeah.
There was no Instagram at the time. There was no TikTok.
No. At the time, what happened is this. Slicker broke up with his girlfriend on Facebook, and that made the Sunday papers. And when I read the Sunday papers, I was like, yo, Facebook can now make things happen just by linking it with it. So I was like, hold on, you guys don't know how to use this social media thing. It's in Fundi, so already senya mosha. Senya mosha. Already. So
talking about that, I just remembered something. By the way, I actually helped open up Jub's Instagram.
Yeah.
When he was out of jail.
Yeah.
When he first came from my
exactly.
So Jub, don't forget, I opened that Instagram.
Yeah. Now he's got like millions of followers.
And big up to him. Big up to him. So proud of him.
And shout out. And he's been able to make the remake of the Kokele Go Gold and everything else, you know. Yeah. So
Also, you put them onto the social media wave.
How to do it, yes, exactly. You know what I mean? So, and like, you know, if you watch Netflix, there's like behind the label, where like, yeah, no, Nota was our social media guy. No, I was not a social media guy. I was the guy who came to the office and said, guys, this social media thing is going to be the only thing that matters. That's what I was. I was the crazy kid who came into the office and said, forget TV, forget Lomlungulo, who does your PR. What I'm showing you right now in social media is going to make her job irrelevant. I'm telling you. You understand? And they were like, okay, whatever. You know what? Come here once a week, update our pages. So Nando's, and you know their offices were around here, around the corner from Nando's, in Parktown North, by 4th. You know what I mean? So that's how it started. So that's how I got my into the music industry. So now, Bada Bing at that point in time was like the Rockefeller of South Africa.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So I was in. So everything that I was listening to Kanye saying, yo, now I finally got that deal with Rockefeller. So I was inside now. So now I'm able to see Abu Sbu at parties where I'm VIP. You know what I mean? I'm rolling with the guys. I'm doing content with them on social media and everything else, you know. And that's where I linked up with Usenzo, and he was an artist there. And they didn't have a plan for him, you know what I mean? They knew he was talented, super talented, but they didn't have a plan on how they're going to market him.
Before you continue, now this is me on radio, banging and banging and banging Questa. Questa at the time is an artist that was introduced to me by Slicker. Slicker comes from Squatter Camp. This artist is dope. I love Hood. I'm on YFM. And because I'm a big fan of like the pro sound, you've got this artist who is not pro, but who's also doing kasi rap but in Eastern. You remember, guys, I'm from Eguruleni. This artist is from Eguruleni. Slicker's from Eguruleni. I used to bang that song Ega Questa on YFM. I just never
You used to bang everything that was Slicker. And from Ventilation Volume 1. That's why I also chose. Yeah, because for me, understanding that Bada Bing was the Rockefeller, Yase Mzansi, it was you saying that when you interviewed him, when he came to do his interview. On Ventilation Volume 1. And I was listening to that interview on my way to school. Every morning I used to listen to you, every single morning. I used to listen to you in my dreams, because I'd fall asleep in the car in the traffic with my dad, right? And then all of a sudden I'm having a dream, Mara, you are there, you are talking.
Yo, bro, it's amazing what programming can do.
That's it. And I'm having my dream in the morning in traffic, and all of a sudden, and you are talking, you know what I mean? I'm engaging with you in my dreams. So like I'm seeing you in my dreams, like you're just a guy I speak to. So even when I finally meet you, I've spoken to you so many times. Like, we're just picking up from where we left off in my dream.
So the point I wanted to make was, Questa could not break, bro. He could not hit. He was dropping hits, he was dropping good music, he was dope, amazing rapper, raw song, all of that. He had all of that. But this kid was not breaking. And I never thought he would eventually break. My heart would end up being so sore. I'd be like, oh wow, another talent going down to waste. This kid, will he even ever break? So this is us on the radio side, thinking there's a great artist that we always bang, but he's not breaking. What was going on that other side?
Well, I mean, there was no way he was going to break under the shadow of Slicker. Because already when you are introducing him as Intwanaga Slicker, you're telling the fans that they must see him after they see Slicker. They must see Slicker first. You understand? So he's getting in because of Slicker.
And then us, we're thinking that's a positive.
Ganti, no, it's not.
Because he can ride on
Because in rap,
popularity.
In rap, it's about kill or be killed. You need to say he's better than Slicker.
That's
he's
what
retiring.
Kanye West says.
You understand? That's the
when
thing.
He talks about Jay-Z.
You understand? So you need to be able to say this guy is better than Slicker. Slicker, retire, man. Like this is your last album. Like after this, dog. So let's do question, fana. Yazin.
Amo said that when we signed pro. You understand? Like, I know now I can retire.
Yeah, but that was the whole entire point.
Amo was like, I've just heard a rapper who's now making me retire. I'm retired.
So the whole entire thing, I could see it from being inside. That there's no way you're gonna succeed within these guys' shadow. Number one, you need to break out, and number two, you need to come up with your own style, your own sound that can resonate with South Africa, so that you can actually have something that people can hold on to. But also, you need to do it at the right time.
Yeah.
Hip hop is not there yet, so you need to be patient. And throughout the whole entire time,
I can't believe it's raining right in the middle of our interview. Let's continue. Let's see. Maybe let's continue another few minutes. Let's go. Let's go.
But you're not scared of the lightning?
We've got I'm scared of the lightning under the tree. Do you want us to wrap up this interview and have a part 2? Because I've got so much to talk about with Nota.
Yeah.
For me, we haven't even started.
No, we can wait for the rain and then continue after, right?
Okay, coach, you know what I'm gonna do?
Yeah.
We're gonna put this up.
Yeah.
And then I need a part 2.
Yeah.
The part 2 will be the proper interview because I wanted your background. I wanted people to know who you are.
Yeah, I know the
before
background.
We get into the meat of the music industry.
No, that's cool. No, that's cool. It's just that I'm really.
I know, and lightning is shy. Guys, we gotta go. Thank you so much for checking out the interview. This is Nota. The story was getting heated up. Please remind us the next time where this interview ended. Oh, we'll watch it. We'll pick it up.
Trust me, I watch all my content over and over again.
To see you,
and that's another thing is that like a lot of people they miss the fact that podcasts are not music.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't watch them over and over again. To retain the information, you need to watch it over and over again.
Yes. And what I love about podcasts is that you can speed it up.
Exactly.
An hour's podcast you can listen to it in 30 minutes.
Exactly.
If you want
and that's
to.
it. Yeah. And that's it.
So shout outs to Nota. I'm so proud of him. Everything is achieved over the years. There's so much to talk about still. Part 2 still coming. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Like, share, subscribe.
Chef.
This is the Hustler's Corner.